Hey guys, it's Ev and welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a really long time since I've just sat down and uploaded a regular video. I kind of had a vlog a couple weeks ago of prom, so if you haven't seen that, you should go check it out. But anyway, this week's video is a write with me video, and that's what I like to do a lot is I write, and I want to write for my whole life. So I thought I'd just show you how I write a book and stuff like that. So yeah, if you're new here, you should totally subscribe and like this video. And if you want to see more writing videos, definitely comment down below. So without further ado, let's just get started. Alright, so if you guys did not know, I've actually published 2 books in my Historical Society Collection series, and they are both linked on my website. If you go check out my website, which is linked down below, you can click on the pictures and it'll take you to Amazon if you want to read more about them or if you want to buy them. And then I also have a couple stories on Wattpad, which is also linked down below. But those were the first 2 books in the series, and today we are going to be working on the prequel, which I'm hoping will be able to come out by 2019. I'm going to be working on it a lot this summer. So let's just get started writing. I always do all of my writing in Google Docs just because it saves it automatically and I won't lose it. And I have it in the shared folder with my grandma who loves to help edit my books, which is awesome. And she actually works at a historical society, so that's why I was inspired to write these books. So I have kind of a brief outline typed up, and I just cleaned it up a little bit for you, and I've highlighted some things that are really important that I don't want to forget. Because I'm not a huge outlining person, I kind of just like to write and let stuff happen, but this book really has to explain all of the other books and really connect with them, so I have to make sure that I hit some few key points. So that's why I'm just kind of doing a little bit of an outline. But most of my books that I've written, they happen just because I sit down, I come up with a sentence, and it just happens. But again, I just want to make this one kind of coherent with the other books. So I'm just going to show you a couple of the main points. I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm not going to show you everything. But I'm just kind of typing up an outline of the major things that need to happen. So in the first 2 books, they're both about kids traveling back in time to solve mysteries, and Maureen is the historian at the Historical Society that sends them back in time. So this is going to be explaining how Maureen became this magical historian and her whole backstory. And it's going to be when she's a senior in college, because she's kind of figuring out what she wants to do with her life, where she's going to get a job. And it's going to be her senior thesis is this project. That's what I'm thinking right now. Let me know if you think that's a good plot line down below. So yeah, you have to make sure that you have all of these major plot points. I think that's important, just to make sure that your story doesn't end up going nowhere, because that's happened to me, where I start writing and then it just turns out to be a random prose of nothingness, and I'm like, wow, I just spent a month writing this and it's nothing. So I just want to make sure that all of my books have solid plots and are entertaining. And then you also just need some subplots, because your book has to have some depths, or else it's just kind of flat and boring. So I wanted to add in some little side stories and inner conflict with the character herself and maybe with some other characters, and just have a lot of character development. So in this case, I wanted to have some relationship struggles with her and just figuring out who she is, because she's graduating college and she needs to know where she's going to work, where she's going to live, what is really going to happen with the rest of her life, what does she really want to do with the rest of her life. So that's kind of what this whole subplot is, because I really want you to be able to get to know Maureen and also understand the other books in the series better, if that makes sense. So just make sure that the characters that you're writing have personalities, have depth, are relatable, and sometimes even you want people to not like your characters just so they can learn something from them. It just depends on what kind of book you're writing. And I'm absolutely no expert, not an English major. I just love to write and have been writing since I was 5. So I'm just throwing my tips out here. Yeah, I'm really excited that I'm finally working on this book, because I've had this idea for this book forever, since I first wrote the first one in the series. And it's really cool. I remember where I was when I first came up with the first book, Witch Hazel. I was sitting in the parking lot of Pig's Fly Bakery in Maine, and I just had the idea. So yeah. So now we're going to actually start writing, and all of my books start with a prologue in this series. That's kind of just how it works for me. I always have an introduction, and I just like to start. I don't like to have some like weird like hello, my name is, or like have like an introduction. I just start right with dialogue or right with character dialogue to the audience. I just hit the reader with it. I don't try to like have a weird introduction to the story. I just start kind of like in the middle of a conversation, in the middle of a scene, so that the reader immediately gets pulled in. That's personally just my favorite style of writing, and I think that's the best way to start a book, because if you kind of have it like, my name is Sarah, I'm 17 years old, this is my story, like no one really wants to read that if the whole book's going to be like that. But if you're immediately drawn into the voice of the character, to the voice of the story, then people are going to keep reading your book. So that's why I just started this with a quote from this character. And then to pick character names, I always just like look up popular names from like the time periods, and I'm just like guesstimating that these characters were born in the 90s. So, and James is a really plain name, but it stood out to me. That's what I wanted the name to be for this character, because he's probably not going to be in it that much. We'll see. He might have like a return later to maybe add some conflict. I just thought of that right now, and I think that's actually really good. He should come back, and there should be like some sub conflict resolution stuff going on. This is exciting. But yes, then I just kind of start writing. So I'm just going to stop talking for a second and just let you read what I wrote. Oh, and before I stop talking, I do like go back and like change my words around a lot. It took me a while to get like the first sentence exactly how I wanted it to, because I really want the voice of this character a certain way. And I decided to write this book in the past tense, where the other books were in the present tense, because it is the prequel, and I want it to be like Maureen looking back on her life, if that makes sense. Whereas the other two books took place like in the present, like when you're reading it, that's when it's happening. These ones are Maureen looking back on her life. And I did like speed up this video. I wasn't actually typing that fast. This video was just 45 minutes long, so I made the video clip like 8 times faster than it normally would be. But feel free to pause it if you want to read it, and comment down below if you like my style of writing. Also, myself personally, I don't like to write, when I write dialogue, I don't like to say blah 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 blah, said Sarah, blah 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 blah, said Johnny. I kind of like add either nothing and it's just the dialogue, or I'll add like emotional descriptions, or like what they're doing with their hands, or like I'll have someone else say something and then the main character like think something after what he said, if that makes sense. Like I don't like to just say like he said this, she said that, unless it's like not obvious who's talking, because I feel like that slows down the story if you add like he said, she said at the end of everything, if that makes sense. Right, so there's the prologue to The Historian. I hope this video was helpful, and if you have any comments down below about what you want me to write about, let me know. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe.